This episode is brought to you by Address Validator. Stop delivery issues in their tracks with real-time address verification that saves you money and keeps your customers happy.
Facebook ads are just a set of assumptions. You have an assumption, you create the ad around that assumption, you have multiple variations, then you get the data, and then you double down on what's working and you discard what's not working. So I'm not a fan of making a lot of daily tweaks in the budget because that turns out to be just a day trading. So in order to scale, I need consistent results, at least 3 days of good results at my target CPA. If both conditions are met, then I would increase the budget. So for me, it doesn't make sense to run the ads until you have a product market fit and until you have a proven offer. Because although I'm a media buyer, for me, ads are just an amplifiers. They're like a fuel on a fire when you have something that's already working, dialed in. So structure is product, offer, then the creative, and then the stuff in the ad account. Just by technical stuff, you can improve the results.
In this episode, we're unlocking the secrets of scaling meta ads with Marin Ištvanić, a master of data-driven media buying.
This is the 2X e-commerce podcast, hosted by Kunle Campbell.
So welcome back to the 2X e-commerce podcast. Today, we're going deep into the world of meta ads, where Marin Ištvanić, who's a partner at Inspire Brand Group, shares his specialized strategies for scaling e-commerce ad campaigns. Marin's journey from freelance media buyer to agency partner has given him unique insights into how to structure, test, and scale ads on the Meta platform. We cover best practices for sandbox testing with ABO, ad set budget optimization, leveraging Advantage Shopping Plus for high performance scaling, and fine-tuning your creatives to reach your ideal ROAS or return on ad spend, and CPA, which is cost per acquisition goals. So if you're focused on driving e-commerce growth with meta ads, this episode will help you refine your strategy for a competitive edge. Make sure to subscribe to the 2X e-commerce podcast, where we bring you top industry experts to help you scale your business. Hey, Marin, welcome to the 2X e-commerce podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure to be here after listening so many episodes of yours.
Incredible. I like to speak to listeners of this podcast. So thank you for your support all through the years. Marin, you have quite an interesting background. Do you want to give us your journey into just media buying in general? How did you get to doing what you are? You're now a partner at Inspire Brand Group, and it's been a phenomenal journey. Do you want to share that journey with us, please?
Yeah, definitely. It is definitely an interesting journey. I was on my senior year of college studying computer science, but alongside I was playing semi-professional football. So basically I was playing in second Croatian division. And I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. Should I go with the computer science? That is probably the best option at that time in Croatia to become a developer. Should I go full in on football? But then somehow I stumbled upon digital marketing. I saw an ad for digital marketing apprentice. I started learning everything there is about it. I didn't know what that was. So I went through the whole Google literature to understand what is an auction, how the ad works. It sparked my attention just because I'm very analytical, good with numbers, and that was way more interesting than what I was studied. But obviously I didn't want to just start running ads for the sake of running ads to learn them. I did not have money at that time. So luckily I had one guy that was doing Facebook ads. He was probably the only guy in Croatia at that time doing Facebook ads. He was a friend of a friend. So I started working with him, he was giving me those small tasks. Can you find the audience? When back in the day when the audience was a thing in Facebook, can you upload these creatives? It was great for him because he got someone who could do those basic tasks. It was great for me because I got the experience to actually see how it works when you're working with the client. Soon enough, I started freelancing, and soon after that, I connected with Matt, founder of the Inspire agency. So I started working as a junior media buyer. Soon enough, I advanced to mid, to senior, to head of performance, and currently now, after 7 years, I'm a partner at the same agency and also partner at one of the internal brands, because we realized through the years that we can scale other people's businesses through Facebook ads. So we thought like, okay, why not scale our own? So currently I'm juggling between the roles of a partner in the agency and internal brand. On the internal brand side, we hit 15 mil in our second year, and this year we are on a path to do 30. So this is doing way better than what we expected. So my attention is currently divided between those two.
Do you see your brand activity eclipsing what you're doing in the media buying, or do you think they can coexist sustainably?
So whoever I talked to, they said like you'll get to the point where you have to decide which route do you want to go. But my partner is kind of like more leading the brand. I'm more leading the agency. I'm just doing the media buying on the brand side and helping with the growth. So at this point, we are in a good spot that we are not necessarily overlapping, but we are assisting one another. So at this point, I think we are in a good position.
Yeah, one of the businesses is very high margin, and the other is a low margin business but big numbers. So it's a big decision or a good problem to have. So best of luck with that.
Thank you.
You said
explained that perfectly.
Yeah. So you're talking about initially your when you were looking for roles. Where did you find the initial role? You
mean where I started as a freelancer?
Yes. You said you saw an advert somewhere. I'm just curious to know where you found the advert.
Yeah, it was an ad like for one of the digital marketing agency here in Croatia in my hometown. It was just like a digital marketing apprentice, someone who would like fill the spreadsheets and do those basic tasks. But like I never before heard about that role, so that's like what caught my attention. But then actually my first job as a freelancer, I got on Upwork.
Okay. It's phenomenal that you were able to move from junior to eventually head of performance and then a partner. What is it in you do you think Matt saw and continue to reward, in terms of responsibility and value over the years, over the 7 years?
That's a great question. So I would say that like I'm born for this job. Like if I go through, like some personality test, I would get results that are suitable for this job. Very responsible, detail oriented, great with numbers, curious, trying to find some hacks, to beat the system. So basically everything that I'm is describing my character is like great personality trait for this job. So I think that's one thing. The other thing, I saw this opportunity and I saw that I'm enjoying this job. I don't see it as a work. It's a pleasure to me. And anytime that I have a free time, I do some extra. I'm listening to many podcasters. I went through the whole Google Literature support. I'm engaging with other people. I'm just like constantly learning. So that was probably a combination of my character and hunger to learn more, because I actually find something that doesn't feel like a work to me.
Super interesting. So remember our chat in May earlier this season, episode 33 with Sam Piliero, about scaling from $1 million to $10 million with Google Ads? We talked about the power of maximizing your ad spend. Now, imagine supercharging your Google search and shopping ads with reviews. As a Google partner, Reviews.io enables you to seamlessly integrate products and company reviews into your ads, helping you build trust and increase click-through rates. Adding verified reviews to your ads can be a game changer for standing out in any competitive space. One of my personal favorite ways to extend the reach of reviews is through their reputation management feature. This tool helps you distribute reviews to third-party platforms like Trustpilot and Facebook or even Google itself. Whether you want to send all your reviews to one platform or have reviews.io automatically spread them where you need the most visibility, this feature ensures your reviews are working harder for your brand. With reviews.io, you can manage both product and company reviews in one place, which streamlines your efforts while amplifying your brand's presence. If you're already using reviews or feel like you're not getting enough, there's a faster way. With reviews.io's Review Booster, you can collect reviews not only from new customers, but also from past customers, so you're not having to wait around for fresh orders to start building trust. Simply upload a list of customer details, and reviews.io will handle the rest, automatically sending out review requests with customized email invitations. This means you can quickly boost your credibility and start converting more shoppers. And if you're stuck in a long-term contract with your current reviews provider, reviews.io makes switching easy for listeners of the 2x e-commerce podcast. Through their contract buyout program, reviews.io will honor the time left on your contract so you can transition seamlessly without having to double pay for services. Once your buyout period ends, you'll enjoy their flexibility, no commitment monthly plans, giving you freedom and results without being locked into something that doesn't work for your business. Ready to make your reviews work harder for your business? Use the code 2X to get 10% off your first year with reviews.io. Just click the link in the episode description or ask the support team to apply the code for you. Applies to new customers only. Terms and conditions apply.
I want you to either disagree or agree with this statement. 80% of media buying is in creatives for Meta.
I would disagree because Facebook told us that 56% is impact of the creative to the performance. It definitely has a huge part, but I would not say 80%.
Let's jump into it. So why do you think, so what are the other bits outside of creatives that really matter? 56 is a big number. We're talking 44% now. What's in that 44%?
So let's go a step back. So for me, it doesn't make sense to run the ads until you have a product market fit and until you have a proven offer. Because although I'm a media buyer, for me, ads are just an amplifiers. They're like a fuel on a fire when you have something that's already working, something that's dialed in. So I would say that like structure is product, offer, then the creative, and then the stuff in the ad account. Just by technical stuff, you can improve the results maybe just by 20, 30%, depending on how bad the ad account in what shape it is. But then actually, I had so many ad accounts started performing better just when we like switch the offer, when we find a good performing angle. So I would say that in between the creative and the technical part, you need to sort your offer and you need to sort your angle.
Your offer and your angle. Should we speak to this offer, and what is a breakdown? What do you see brands that are really killing it with you, working with you, do to really nail that offer and get the product market fit?
So like once you have a product market fit, you know you have a product that people want. It's now to like how to make it appealing enough that they would pay the price that you put. So first thing is like, okay, you need to nail the pricing, or you need to justify your pricing in a way that it is appealing to the users. So for example, I can speak about one of the tests that we did. We had 1 month bundle, 2 month bundle, and 3 month bundle. And basically we price anchored that 99% of people bought 3 month bundle because the difference between 2 month and 3 month was just $10. So nobody in a right mind would buy 2 month bundle. And then we thought like, okay, this is crushing. So then what we did then is that we increased the prices, and then we said, if you buy 2-month bundle, you will get additional 2-month for free. So basically we did a BOGO, but for 2-month. And then everybody switched to buying 2-month bundle. Although our margin stayed the same, our AOV stayed the same because we increased the prices, but our conversion rate went up. So that means that we were actually earning more. So just by 2 tweaks, my ROAS in the ad account for the same ads, in the same ad account structure, increased 30% just because we had an offer change that was converting way more. So for people that like, you want to find that something that looks like an irresistible offer, that people, when they see that, like, they say like, hey, this is a great deal, I don't want to miss that.
It makes makes a lot of sense. So in this experiment that you're talking about, it sounds to me like this offer bundling these were like on-site offers. So these are landing page tweaks as against like meta account tweaks. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. The reason I asked the initial question around the 80% was because I know for a fact that your agency, you focus exclusively on the media buying aspect of things, and you essentially work with your supplied creatives and then you give feedback. Do you want to give us a synopsis of how you do this and why you choose to not sort of, play around with creatives from an agency perspective?
Yes, I thought about this extensively and multiple times and chatted with my partners and with some other agencies. They all said, when you start doing creatives, it's basically like you have another business. So you need to, like, at least 4 more people. You need to creative strategist, copywriter, video editor, graphic designer, maybe project manager, someone who's going to source the creatives. And like, that's totally another business. And then, like, we are starting from scratch. We need to, like, build our processes. We need to find proper people. We need to, like, dialed in everything that other creative agencies, they are doing for the couple of years already, that they have like proven track of records. That's one thing. The other thing is, I want my agency to stay boutique. I don't want to add additional services. I don't want to add additional people, because all of that is like additional headache. I'm currently at that spot where we have limited number of clients. I know that I can pick who I want to work with. I know that we can deliver great results with our media buying. So at the moment, it's like a perfect mix between the how do I say it, results and the number of clients, and not to be overwhelmed and not to stress too much, and still earning well enough.
Makes sense. So you have how many clients, and where are they located? I know for sure that all your clients, the reason why I really wanted to catch up with you on this podcast is because all your clients are e-commerce. So how many clients do you have, and how are they geographically sort of dispersed?
Yeah, so we have a like limited spot of 20 clients. Obviously, let's say in Q4 we could onboard 1 or 2 extra. Also, sometimes it depends what the size of the client is, but usually, as I said, 3 media buyers plus me, and there's 20 clients. So basically, each of media buyers can handle between 4 and, let's say, 6 or 7 ad accounts. Most of the clients are based US, Canada, and then I would say some are based in Australia and UK. So basically, big 4 English speaking.
Absolutely. It's the same kind of breakdown for the listener base of this podcast. We've reached 150 countries, but over 50% of our audience is United States, and then it trickles to all of the other geos you talked about, English speaking. Okay. Now, from a client perspective, how much do clients, your 20 clients on average, typically sort of spend with you guys?
So basically, the minimum is the minimum they need to be spending is 50K a month. That's kind of like the minimum when we onboard something. But we have some clients that are spending 1 mil, 1.5 mil a month. So average is, I would say, around like 10 to 15K a day, which turns out to be like 300 to 500K a month.
Okay. So if I'm spending 300K a month on Google, on Meta ads, how many creatives must I send your agency in order for you to sort of deliver my target ROAS or CPA I have in mind?
So I'm always the guy that goes for quality above quantity.
Mhm.
So I would say like minimum is, let's say, 4 concepts a week, each concept with at least 3 variation. Because when you build a video, just like having a different hook or a different length or a different thumbnail in a video or different layout or a text message in the image, it maximizes our chances of finding a winning creative. So when I say 4 concept, that's like a unique concept, but we need each concept with at least 3 variation to maximize our chances of finding a winning creative.
Got it. So four creators, 4 concepts, and then 3 variations each to do it, and then you can give feedback if one variation starts to work really well, so you could further iterate on it.
Exactly.
Okay, so that would mean about 4 times 4, so 16, 20 creatives a month. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And then what is the process from handing over this creative to yourselves? What do you then sort of do? Where are you tweaking? What are you doing in the ad account to deliver my target CPA or my target ROAS?
Yeah, so basically client sends us a link, say, hey guys, this is ready. We download it, we upload it, and we have our sandbox testing campaign. Basically, we are doing all of our testing in an ABO, which means that each new ad set is a new test, and each new test is a new concept. So basically, if I get 4 concepts that week, I would have 4 different ad sets. In each ad set, I would have only variations of that concept. Because my goal is not to find one ultimate winning ad. My goal is to find a winning variation within the concept, and then whatever works in my testing, I can keep scaling. So although my testing campaign is labeled as testing, I have multiple ad accounts where my testing campaign is actually my highest spending campaign, just because I increased the budget there. And then, okay, whatever works, I would take the post ID of a winning creative and I would put it into additional campaign, which is scaling campaign, which is Advantage Shopping Plus with a cost cap. So I'm not a big fan of using cost cap for testing, but I'm a huge fan of using it for scaling. This way, we are taking only proven winners and we are setting a cap with a high inflated budget, which we are okay Facebook spending. And there's a very, very low chance Facebook delivering bad results because, first of all, I pick a target CPA that I'm comfortable with. And the second of all, even if Facebook like overspends, it cannot overspend to the extent it would be terrible just because I graduated only winning ads there.
There's a lot to unpick from there. Let's start out from the first, which is AVO. Do you want to give listeners just to break down that acronym AVO?
Yeah, so basically that's
ABO.
Yeah, ad set budget optimization. That means for each of the ad set, we are dedicating a specific budget that we want to spend on. So basically, if I launch 4 tests and I put $100 on each of the tests, I would spend $100 on a daily basis for each of the tests. That's a bit different compared to the CBO, which is campaign budget optimization, where you put a budget and when you put, like, let's say those $400 on a campaign level, and then Facebook decide on which concept, on which ad set it would spend. So it could be happening that concept number 1 gets $350, concept number 2 gets $50, and concept number 3 and 4 don't get any spend. I'm not a fan of that because Facebook can often push the budget towards the ad that has the highest click rate, ad that has the, maybe let's say, clickbaity hook, ad that has the longest watch time, ad that has the biggest, that's targeting the biggest country. So all of those signs, indicators are not necessarily correlated to the performance. And in ABO, I can control my budget over the performance and I can adjust my budget accordingly. that actually is maximizing efficiency of my ad account.
Makes sense. So back to the testing, the sandbox testing phase. How much of reach or impressions do you want to reach in order to make a statistically significant decision as to whether to go for an ad concept or to just can it?
Yeah, so it's very hard to wait for statistical significance, especially if we have multiple tests running. We have some clients where we are testing 15 concepts a week, and if I start with $100 and I want to reach statistical significance, and most of the tests are failing, I would get into position that my ad account is struggling. So there's no fixed level of spend or level of impression that we need to reach. It depends on the AOV, on the number of tests that I'm running, and the overall ad account budget on a daily basis. So if I'm spending, $2K and I'm launching $400 on a daily basis, that's 20% of the budget that goes for testing, I could be overwhelming the ad account. But on the other side, if I'm spending 10K a day and then I launch 10 tests, that's just 10%. So basically, I can allow myself to be more aggressive, and I can allow some of the tests to run longer. Also, some of the tests might look bad on the ad set level, but when you enter the ad level, you could see that there's one ad that got most of the spend but bad results. So we would kill that one and let other running. And then after, let's say, I don't touch anything for 3 days, but after 3 days, I evaluate, okay, is there any variation that is performing bad? And then let's say after 5 and 7 days, I can actually make a decision whether it makes sense for me to kill the concept completely. If it's performing, then I can scale it. So I get to the point that, let's say, out of 10 tests, I turn off 4, I keep 2 at the same budget, and then I increase budget on the remaining ones. So it's always a mix. And the budget and the performance is evaluated always based on the ROAS or CPA.
I like that. There's a broad concept or heuristic that says to optimize, you need to see what you can cut off, take away rather than add. And from your concept in this respect, you're seeing what can be taken off initially, what's really weighing everything down, and then you're putting more concentration into what has prospects to be potentially graduated to the scaling campaigns.
Exactly, because for me, Facebook ads are just a set of assumptions. You have an assumption, you create the ad around that assumption, you have multiple variations, then you get the data. That's the beauty of digital marketing. You get the data, and then you double down on what's working and you discard on what's not working. And then if you're constantly applying learnings, what angle is working? If the older creator is working better than the younger creator, if when we mentioning the product is working better than we opening up with a problem, when we are showcasing the product compared to when we are having a long intro about the problem, you get so many learnings when which you stack one on another, you get to the point that you actually are getting better with every ad that you're running, and which is actually allowing you to spend more with the better results. That's how you actually scale.
What's your takeaway on ad copy? So we have the creatives, which could be image or video, correct? What's your agency's approach to headline text, text in the description, and then ad copy? I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, so we are pretty much not testing that at all, because Facebook told us that creative has almost 60% impact on the performance of the ad. So we want to have the most focus on that. We usually just have an ad copy that's aligned to the angle of the video. So let's say if we have a video that's talking about anti-aging, we would have an ad copy and the headline that matches that angle. If we have a video that's talking about anti-acne, or video that's talking about not wearing a makeup, we would have the ad copy that's aligned to that angle. From time to time, we would challenge that ad copy with existing winning videos, but in most cases is I would rather test hook, I would rather test thumbnail, I would rather test length, I would rather test creator in a video compared to the ad copy.
Okay. And then what's your take on static images versus video? What's a good ratio to aim for?
So again, there's no clear answer. It depends what your product niche is. For example, images work amazing for clothing, shoes, jewelry, basically where you can understand what the product is just with an image. So for clothing, some of the best performing ads are carousel ads, catalog ads. Like you just see an image, because I know, like my girlfriend, she likes to swipe through those, like like a lot of the clothing combination on that carousel ad. But for the other products where you actually need product explanation, product demonstration, identifying the problem, it's very hard to sell it with an image. That's one thing. The other thing is, no matter how good image ad you create, most likely it would be doing retargeting. So Facebook is pretty good at like allocating type of the ad to the funnel, to the part of the funnel where the user is. So like I can see by percentage of new visits in Norbeam and in Triple Whale that no matter how good image ad I create, it does retargeting. Also, for example, if you create an image ad that says like 50% off, and you launch that with a broad audience and with all the possible exclusions of your buyers, of your video watchers, of your Facebook, Instagram engagers, of your website visitors, basically you're instructing Facebook to go after like completely new people. But you have an ad that says 50% off, that ad would like 100% do retargeting. And I can see that my percentage of new visits, no matter the full exclusion, is just 20%. So sometimes, no matter like how good image ad you have, you cannot reach cold audience. What I would say, creative diversification is extremely important. So you want to have videos, you want to have UGC, you want to have unboxing, you want to have reviews, you want to have image offer ads, you want to have us versus them. So you want to like cast a wide net of your creatives, because that's how you're reaching different pocket of the audience. And then obviously you double down on what's working. So I would say it's definitely a great thing to have a mix of video and images, but don't rely too much on the images, because you'll get into the point that all of your ad account is doing just retargeting.
Yeah, and I guess this creative diversification is something you sort of instruct or guide your clients through, particularly if they are initially skewed towards a certain creative type.
Yeah, exactly. We do analysis like to understand what's the split, what kind of formats are working, and we have a document called Ads Bible with the styles that we know are performing. Let's say founder ads, unboxing, us versus them, review, mini VSL, and stuff like that. With basically our formats that we know have the highest chance of getting best results.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's talk about the next step. So an ad has clearly shown prospects. What are you looking at? Are you looking strictly at conversions in the testing sandbox stage?
So if I'm making decision whether I will scale an ad set or not, yes, I'm always looking at the CPA or ROAS. If I'm looking how to potentially iterate on a video, then I'm looking at soft metrics, which are like early indicators. So if I see an ad is crushing, okay, let's increase the budget, but I want to replicate it potentially. So, okay, let me check for the opportunities on which metrics I should iterate. For example, let's say my hook rate is not great, but my hold rate is amazing. So I would check that video. I would try to understand, okay, why this video is keeping the attention of a user, why they are interested in watching more. And then my hook rate is below the average. So that means I can make even better winning ad if I improve the hook. So I want to understand where's my opportunity, and I'm iterating only when I have discrepancy. So if I have bad hook rate, bad hold rate, probably that video would not be a winner, and there's no point for me to iterating on that. If I have a winning ad, I would analyze this metric to try to improve it. Also, if I have an outliner, let's say a video with an amazing thumb-stop ratio, but pretty bad hold rate, I know there's potential opportunity to improve that video and create additional winner from that video, then I would iterate on that part where it's lacking. So to summarize, to make a decision based on optimization and whether I will kill something or increase the budget, I'm looking at the ROAS. When I'm looking at iterate the creatives, I would look time stop ratio, hold rate, watch time, and click-through rate.
Got it. And the graduation phase, do you want to, what's your approach? Do you just scale with the specific number in mind from a budget perspective? What are the metrics? What are the things need to be made, tweaks need to be made in order to scale, creative?
So I'm not a fan of like making a lot of daily tweaks in the budget because that turns out to be just a day trading. So in order to scale, I need a consistent results, at least 3 days of a good results at my target CPA. If those both conditions are met, then I would increase the budget. How I would increase the budget depending on what budget level we are. So for example, if I'm on $50, I can bump it to 100. But if I'm on $500, I cannot bump it to 1K because that would be overwhelming. So then I need to go more gradual, let's say from 500 to 700, from 700 to 950 or stuff like that. That's one thing, scaling in the testing campaign. And the other thing, which I call graduating, is actually taking the ad post ID and putting it to different campaign that Advantage Shopping Plus. That ensures that all the comments and likes, that social proof is spread. So when I graduate the winner, it's not starting from scratch. It's already a proven ad with a lot of comments, which Facebook is favorizing, which users are favorizing. So that ad has, let's say, a jump start in terms of the performance. And when I graduate 5 ads, which are all winning ads, there's a very low chance that that campaign would not perform just because whichever the ad Facebook picks, that's a good ad. That's a proven winner.
And is it CBO you're using now at this stage of scale?
No, it's Advantage Shopping Plus. That's not really new, but like the last campaign time that Facebook introduced 2 years ago, which is kind of more simplified version. You cannot pick gender, you cannot pick age range. You just have one ad set, and you pick exclusions of your audience, and you pick country, and you put ads there, and that's it.
All your graduation campaigns on Advantage Plus now?
Pretty much, I would say ABO testing and then scaling Advantage Shopping Plus with cost caps.
With cost caps, okay. Do you want to explain cost caps to the audience? I know it's been explained in a few other episodes, but it'd be great to just explain, to recap what cost caps are to the audience, please.
Yeah, so basically cost cap, or in another words, is cost per results. So you're defining Facebook a number that you don't want it to potentially spend if it cannot hit that number. So let's say we are selling something for $200 and our target ROAS is 2. So then we tell Facebook, hey, Facebook, I'm going to put the cost cap of $100. And if you cannot hit cost per purchase for $100, do not spend. And then in theory, Facebook would not spend if it cannot hit. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. It works like on a 7-day period. So one days it would spend 120. It would get you CPA 120. The other day it would get you 90. The third day it would get 105. But it would average out on 100. For example, we see that during the weekends, conversion rate is always higher. All of my clients have better performance on weekends. So if you leave the cost cap same, let's say, and you put 10K budget, on Thursday it would spend 5, on Friday it would spend 5, but let's say on Saturday it would spend 9, on Sunday it would spend 10. So Facebook kind of like adjusts the budget and adjusts the pacing to the estimated action rate. And then basically you, on an average, you get the CPA of that target that you put as a cost cap.
Makes sense. Is there any other thing we've not covered in this scaling phase that's very important?
Not really. That's pretty much it. I would just want to highlight once again that I'm scaling all of my tests, no matter if the campaign is labeled as testing, and I'm not turning off any ad that I graduate into scaling campaign. So a lot of times I would see someone like has a good ad set in testing, and they graduate the winner, but then they kill the ad set in testing. It just doesn't make sense, just because you don't want to compromise whatever is working in testing. That's one thing. And the other thing is you still want to scale the winners in testing, no matter if it's labeled as testing. So those are like two main rules. And third rule is like, don't be too aggressive on testing. Some guys would like get 2 sales after like 1 day, and they would immediately increase the budget. Like, it could be just a fluke. So you want like at least 3 days of data before you make any adjustments.
So you're saying that in the test campaigns, if something's working, just leave it.
Yeah. Don't ever kill whatever has good results.
Okay, so but what's the benefit of that if you're moving it, you're graduating it to a scaling campaign, and you're throwing more advertising dollars to it or at it?
So actually, Facebook told us that ABO and Advantage Shopping Plus are slightly different algorithms, and that the overlap should not be more than 30%. So basically, even though I'm scaling the same ad in 2 different campaigns, they're not necessarily hitting the same people. And also, even if they are, like I care more about the performance than about the overlap. So I would rather like scale from 5K to 15K and stay and have good results, and then have, I don't know, 60% overlap, than like be on 5K and then have 20% overlap. Just because all of my clients care about the performance, and that's how I'm making my decisions.
Makes sense, because I was just of the impression that the spend in the sandbox test is typically a few $100s, I guess, a day, rather.
It depends how many tests I have. I have one ad account where I have currently, like, we're testing 10 concepts a week, and I have probably 20 ad sets active. And some of the tests, I launch all of them with 100. I have some ad sets that are on like 2K, that are like on 700. So depending how good the test is in testing campaign, I'm scaling it there. So in that ad account,
in the testing.
yeah. So basically, in some ad accounts, my testing campaign is actually my highest spending campaign, just because I scale whatever is working there.
Okay. That makes sense. And with all of that, when do you start to sort of pick up on the signs to start to cut down? Sometimes you do not necessarily need. Do you cut down a campaign over time, or do you just stop it? Do you cut down budget rather in a campaign, or do you just...
I cut budgets if the performance, again, is not good at the selected period. So if the performance is bad at 1 day, I would not act on it. But if the performance is bad for 2-3 days, I would, see what's happened, like what changed, because there are only 4 metrics that are impacting your ROAS: CPM, click-through rate, AOV, and conversion rate. So when performance is down, one of those changed. So for example, if I see that click-through rate started dropping, there's something with the creative. So let me check if I can actually like resurrect the ad. I call that resurrection. And the handbrake, basically I would pull up the budget down, because maybe I scaled it too aggressively, and at this current level, Facebook cannot get me the target CPA or target ROAS that I need. That's one thing. And the other thing is I would duplicate that ad to give it a fresh chance, that I call a resurrection. Because if something worked for a month and a half, and one ad and the audience combination worked for a month and a half, and like I managed to scale it from 100 to 2K, that single ad set, and now magically 5 days are bad. Like it tells me there's like something outside of my control that happened. So I would kill that ad, I would duplicate it to give a fresh chance, and in like probably 70 to 80% of the cases, that ad just starts picking up with the performance again, and I get to the point that like this is working good. So I would not necessarily turn off something when it's bad right away if I manage to scale it.
Okay, that makes sense. So you give it another chance, you duplicate it, see where it goes, and do you, if it goes the right way, that's fine. If it doesn't, would you
then I
just
would probably
gradually
kill it.
start
Yeah.
to cut? Would you kill
Yeah.
it completely, or would you say, okay, let me cut this 2K to 1K or to 500 and see where?
Yeah, so basically that handbrake is when I first pull up the budget. So let's say we were on 2K and then like, okay, it's not working as intended. Okay, let's pull up the budget to, let's say, 1.5K and let's duplicate the ad. If none of those help, then I would probably kill it.
You just kill it. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. And speaking about things outside of your control, and circling back to your first point around offer tweaking, how much agency do you have as a media buyer to say, okay, this landing page needs to be sort of adjusted in order for my target ROAS to be realized or my target CPA to be realized?
Yeah, so I have a funnel calculator that I built in Google Sheets, which basically tells me where in the funnel brand has drops. So, okay, we have a number of clicks, then number of landing page views, which tells me, okay, whether the page is loading fast enough. Then we have number of landing page views that proceed to view content. So basically, to what extent people are interested in learning more about the product. And we have percentage that tells us what percentage of people that landed on a product page actually added to cart, and what percentage of people that added to cart initiated checkout. So before I start with every client, I do this analysis to tell the clients, hey, like you have gap here, like people are not even adding to product, so you need to fix that to order to get that better ROAS. Or for example, average of people that proceed from checkout to purchases is 50%, but on your side it is 25. So okay, let's check what's happening there. Maybe you're charging shipping that people are not expecting. Maybe they have some objections. So okay, we want to sort that before we actually start buy our media and before we start scaling, because otherwise it would be very hard if you don't have your funnel dialed in. That's why I said like ads are just a cherry on the top.
I agree. That analysis is amazing. If you can share it with members of the audience, please do.
For sure.
I'll add it to the show notes in this episode. What's your take on? So we're recording this just for some context at the end of October 2024. What's your outlook for Q4 we're in Q4 already, but for Black Friday, Cyber Monday of 2024?
We could do a whole episode just on that, but I'll try to make it short and meaningful. So basically, first, Q4 is a period where brands could have up to 60% of their revenue just in those 3 months, especially if you're a gifting product. So I would say, like, align your targets properly. For example, for our internal brands, we decided that we want to lower our targets for October because we want to fill up the funnel for November. Because from the last year, we have data that a lot of people converted during that period. So we intentionally lowered our targets and we were running like just on a break even because we know those people will convert. That's first thing, understand your number. The second thing is make sure that you have inventory that you can actually support the scale during the Black Friday. Thing number 3, make sure your ad account is not capped. So you don't get into position that you're scaling, but you just magically cannot spend more than 10K a day or like 5K a day, which because Facebook put a cap. So that's going to hurt big time. The fourth thing is define your offer and define it based on your margins. Okay, do you want to have a discount, which is the easiest to implement, but it hurts your margin the most? Do you want to have a free gift with purchase that has a high perceived value, but it's not going to necessarily convert as much as discount? Do you want to have some aggressive offers like buy 2, get 2, buy 3, get 3? Do you want to make bundles, which are my favorite way for Q4 because they allow you to increase your AOV? So even if you give them a discount, you're still not hurting your margins too much. And people have a perceived value that this discount of 20% on $300, that's $60 compared to, let's say, 20% on $50, which is just $10. So basically that perceived value for discount is way bigger on the bundle and it protects your margins. And the fourth thing is make sure to align your start date and end date when you're going to launch the offer. And for this year, just a small tip, be mindful that this year, Cyber Monday is in December. So if you're making forecasted revenue for your Q4 for your November, just make sure that like you do not take last year data, because last year Cyber Monday was in November and this year it is in December.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think Shopify does a really good job now at that, but not all analytics or grinding, analysis rather is done on the Shopify dashboard. You want to do that, use other platforms to do that. Marin, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Thank you for the final sets of tips. For people who want to find out more, about Inspire, it's inspiredigitalgroup.com. That's where to get you. I'll link to it in the show notes. Are you active on any social media platforms?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm most active on Twitter, and I'm sharing this like tips and tricks on a daily basis. And in the past year, like there's not a single day that I did not tweeted something that's going to be useful for you to run the ad account. And recently, I started posting on YouTube. So those are probably two places where you can find me and learn more about me, how I work, and actually get some actionable insight that you can implement in your ad account right away.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, Marin. I'm going to link to your X as well as your YouTube. All I can say is I have extreme gratitude for this hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me once again.
Thank you for tuning in to this meta-focused episode of the 2x e-commerce podcast. I hope our conversation with Marin Ištvanić from Inspire Brands Group provided valuable, actionable insights into the world of meta ads, from optimizing with ABO and scaling with Advantage Shopping Plus to perfecting your creatives. Marin's approach shows the effectiveness of a focused, data-driven strategy for e-commerce growth. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the 2x e-commerce podcast and don't forget to leave a review. Your support helps us continue bringing expert insights directly to you. Until next time, folks, keep testing, keep scaling, and keep elevating your meta ad campaigns for optimal growth. Thank you for listening.